Welcome back to another episode of the Strength and Speed Podcast. I'm your host, Strength and Speed owner, Mudgear Hannibal Race Pro, Evan Perperis. I got another guest with me on the line. Jenny, introduce yourself real quick.
Hi, I'm Jenny Overstreet, part of the Mudgear Hannibal Pro team.
And also recent fifth place finisher at World's Toughest Mudder.
Yes, that's true too.
And came in, was it third last year, I believe? Third?
Yes, third last year. Yep.
Yeah. So we brought Jenny on. We're going to talk about kind of a holiday gift guide episode. So the idea is we're going to talk through some like stocking stuffer ideas. We're going to talk to some kind of like slightly larger presents that you get for someone, and then like big presents, right? Something you might buy for a spouse or something like that, or a close family member. So we're going to start in those three categories. I'm going to drop all the links of kind of anything we talk about in the show notes below in case people want to find them. And then, if you want to, if I say something you like or Jenny says something you like and you want to share with a family member or something, just send them the episode with a timestamp and you can, give them a not so subtle hint on buying something for you this holiday season. All right, so we're going to jump right into it, starting off with stocking stuffers, right? So, Jenny, you're a pro OCR athlete, high-level competitor, great trail runner, rock climber / fitness coach / manager at ROKC Olathe in Kansas City. So give me some ideas for like stocking stuffers that you might get for yourself or for someone else who has similar interests.
Okay, so one thing that I did put down was Squirrel's Nut Butter has these lovely little tiny tins that would be perfect for stocking stuffers. I'm not sure what the ounces are on them, but like they're great little things to throw in your pack or even in your pocket while you're out running if you need it. And they would, I don't know, it'd be a lot of fun to fill up a stocking with those, I think.
Yeah, and they're pretty cheap. I think they're a couple bucks, and
Yeah.
the ones you always like ask for are like the super tiny ones. They're like,
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a small container of chapstick.
Yeah. I mean, that really is why, though, because it doesn't take up much room in your pack. And so if you're out running and you've noticed like a little hot spot or something like that, you can grab it really quickly and easily. It's not a big, heavy thing you have to carry around. So,
Yeah, it's a good one. And if people aren't familiar with Squirrel's Nut Butter, again, anti-chafing product. They also have like a vegan option, which seems odd to me, but yeah, I don't know. Some people are like super into the vegan thing, so
yeah.
so
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
eating it, but
No. Yeah.
I guess that extends to the whole vegan lifestyle. So I got it.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't tried that option, but I'm sure it works just as well.
I've tried it. It's yes, it works just as well. Like I honestly can't tell the difference. I think it smells slightly different, but that's the only thing I've noticed.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna go with basically gels, right? So obviously Hammer Nutrition is my main nutrition sponsor, so that's what I would recommend. They're complex carb gels, but that's an easy, they cost like $1.50 or something per gel. And you can buy a whole bunch. You can buy a bunch of different flavors. If you want to get fancy with it, you can like tie it into like kind of like a bouquet of roses, but with like gels, right? Like you attach it to a stick and you like tape the
Oh,
bottom, right? So like real simple stuff. And you can spend $2 on it, or you can spend $30 on it, right? You can scale it up. So that's kind of an easy one I would consider.
nice.
What about anything else? Any other ideas you have?
Yeah, so this is just kind of a fun one for like races, and I mean you could use them at any point, I guess. But Mudgear actually has the temporary tattoos on their website, which I just think are really super fun to use at races. Like if you want to represent Mudgear a little bit, you can put them somewhere on your body, and uh, I don't know, I just think they're kind of fun. So,
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize they were selling them on the website. For a while, they could only
yeah,
they were giving them out at OCRWC, and that was the only time you could find them. Um,
yeah, yeah.
and I'll say those are big and those are nice. So like some of the temporary tattoos fall off real easy, and the Mudgear one I found stays on really well.
Oh, nice.
Also, my pro tip for putting on temporary tattoos before races is I usually shower the night before. Then once I'm dry, I put the temporary tattoo on, and then I go to sleep. And when I wake up for the race the next day, it stays on like 20 times better.
It's nice and set. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like set. It's like in your skin at that point.
yeah.
Which for like a shorter race, not necessarily a big deal. But if you're like Jenny and I, and you're doing like ultras, all the scraping and crawling, if you put it on fresh and then go try to run, it comes off pretty in it within a couple miles. Like it's just there's just too
Yeah.
much abrasion for it to kind of really stay on.
That's a nice
Yeah.
pro tip. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with rock tape, right? So there's the bigger rolls are kind of get a little more on the maybe above the stocking stuffer level, but they do have like kind of like more like sample packs, which are nice, and some of them come pre-cut, and those are my favorite ones, right? Because I can take a pre-cut strip of rock tape and kind of just throw it in my bag, and it just stays in there basically at all times. Because if I get injured or something's bothering me, rock tape doesn't take up a lot of room, and then I can just slap it on whatever's bothering me, and it's like a cheap temporary solution to whatever my issue is at the time. So
Yeah, that's great. I love those little pre-cut strips. I have those in my race bag at all times. So
yeah, those are
yeah.
good. And then also with rock tape, they also have rock sauce and rock fire, right? So that is like the icy of icy hot and the hot of icy hot separate out into two different products. Both of those we're kind of a little bit above the stocking stuffer level as well for these. But they do have like the sample ones, kind of like squirrel's nut butter, where it's like comes in like a tiny packet. And again, you can just kind of
Yeah.
leave those in your bag, and I only need a little bit for this one event, or like in case of emergency. You just you can leave it in your bag for probably like years, and it would be fine. And then just
Yeah,
use
I
it
think
whenever you need it.
I've had mine not in my bag, but the one that I use for probably 2 years. I don't use it frequently, but when I want it, it works well. So
It for me, it works upsettingly well. Like I get
yeah.
upset with how well it works, because like to me, like, the science, it should be back to like with a lot of science, and rock tape does have some science backing it up. But I'll put it on sometimes to have something that's been bothering me for a couple of days, and it will just like completely go away, and I'm like, no, this shouldn't work this good. I was like, there should be more scientific backing as to why my shoulder no longer hurts. But
Yeah. Yeah.
highly recommend rock tape, and the fire burns more than icy hot. Like they have more
Hmm.
capsaicin in it, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Stocking stuffers. Any other stocking stuffers ideas for people?
I put down like this would just kind of tag along to something else. If you were purchasing something from Aurora, like a larger item, they have some nice shirts and like tote bags and things that are marked down right now too. So tack that on and makes a great stocking stuffer.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
They also just we'll get to that when we get to the bigger purchases.
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of those are my kind of go-tos for stocking stuffers. They also have Hammer Nutrition also has some like sampler packs, but again, you have to buy a lot of that. But some of their products, they come in individual sample packs. All right, so if you want to maybe try something new, a different flavor, you can buy like a 1 or 2 size serving of the things, like Perpetuum and Heat. I think they have like 1 or 2 size servings if you're interested in that. I think that's about it for me. Anything else you got? Close out.
Yeah, that's all I have on stocking stuffers too.
Okay. So we're gonna
Yeah.
jump up now to kind of like smaller presents. So maybe something you're gonna buy for a friend, or maybe it's just you've already bought your spouse or significant other a big present, and you want to give something more than just that one item. So for me, I'm gonna say we're looking like maybe $15 or $20 minimum, all the way up to I don't know, like 40-ish, maybe 50-ish range. Um, so let's again, we'll start off. I'll start off with this one. So
Okay.
for me, Fat Grips has been one of my go-to training tools since it was before I even got into OCR. It was like, I don't know, 2010 I started using them. So I've been using those things forever. They're just rubber sleeves that go over barbells or dumbbells, and it basically turns any exercise into a grip exercise, right? So when I travel for work, that's one of the things I bring, because a lot of times you're in like cheap hotel gyms and they don't really have a lot of good grip strength stuff. But if I can slide those over onto barbells or dumbbells, whatever the little hotel gym has, I can get a decent forearm workout in addition to getting a arm or shoulder or chest or whatever other body part I'm working on workout. And they have the regular ones, which I think are about like $30-ish. And then I think the extremes, which are like the super thick ones, are closer to about 40-45 range. So
Nice. So you mentioned that I am the fitness director at ROKC climbing gym, and I consistently, like, it's like every couple of months, I will have someone ask about fat grips. They don't always know the brand name, but they're like, there's these things that go over the barbells or dumbbells that like help you with grip strength. I'm like, oh yeah, I have those in my desk, and I let them use them. I just can't keep them out on the gym floor for
Yeah,
obvious reasons.
yeah,
They're kind of
someone
small.
will walk away with them. Someone will walk away with
Yes, exactly, exactly. But like I said, people ask me about them frequently, and so it's nice to have a pair right
them. Oh,
there,
that is
ready to
cool.
go. Yeah.
I actually so I leave mine actually. I do leave mine at work, but I work in a much smaller setting. So there's only about half a dozen people that use our gym inside the combatives facility, like the actual weight area. So I leave them there and let all the guys use them, and they work well for in jujitsu or combatives or mixed martial
Yeah.
arts. Right, you're grabbing a lot of clothing,
Oh
um,
yeah.
especially if you're doing gi, right? So you need that grip strength. So it's a nice add-on way to build some like forearm strength in addition to working some other body parts.
I hadn't really even thought about that before, but my brother and his whole family they're very into competitive jujitsu. And
Mm,
that would be a great gift for them. So I might have
nice,
to I might have to do that. Yeah.
nice. All right, well, your turn. Your turn for.
Okay. I'm gonna go with mud gear, the crew, and the no-show socks. The tall compression are a little bit more expensive, I think, but I live in mud gear socks. Like I don't really have other brands of socks. And so having like the crew socks are what I generally trail run in, and then the no-show socks I wear daily. So uh I don't know. They're just the best, most durable socks around, I think.
Nice. Yeah. No, I same. The amount of mud gear socks I have is starting to become absurd.
Yeah.
I actually have a bunch of mud gear socks that I have like still sitting on the shelf, like they're still brand new. I'm like, I'm gonna save these for later.
Yeah, because eventually they have to tear at some point, right? Like
Right, right.
10 years from now, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good recommendation. For my recommendation, I'm gonna go with and now is the time to do it because typically prices increase. I'm gonna go with smaller brand OCR entries, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
some of the smaller brands like KC Timber Challenge and some of the kind of localish brands, you can find race entries for sometimes as low as like $30, but kind of under $50 range. And a lot of times that's with like any sort of additional fees or parking they include. But that's always a good gift because for some people, especially if you've been racing a while and you're like, well, I don't know what to get this person. Like they have enough things or items. To me, race entries are always you know, everyone likes race entries. It's just a matter of making sure that the person is free and planning on attending that race and go to that event.
Yeah, and I had Casey Timber challenge entries on mine as well. And the other thing about them is that they're pretty flexible too. So even if you gifted it and then that person had to like, reschedule or, had a conflict with their schedule, they probably would potentially move it to a different race if they needed to. So
Yeah.
seems like it's always a good option.
And they've got, I think, about half a dozen races. I don't think they've quite released their full race calendar yet. I think all they did is release their KC Timber Challenge Yeti on
Yeah.
27 January. But they usually have the women's race, they have the kids race, and then I've been trying to convince them to do the team race again because that was my favorite. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you get to do the
It
team?
is
You didn't
fun.
do the team race this year, did you?
I didn't do it this year, but I did do it last year, the first year that they did it. But no, I kind of it was weird. I went there as a sponsor actually, so I ran one of the obstacles and then I did go through the course kind of on my own, so I didn't have a partner. So I probably didn't experience the full event as it should have been experienced, but it seemed like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. I ran with Thomas Plush and we were burning it down.
Yeah.
Like there was, as usual, there's like a couple people that are competitive, and then there's a couple people who are like, yeah, most of us are here just for fun. And me and Thomas were like, we're gonna crush this thing. And it was
Yeah.
we ran so hard. It was which I think is super fun as a team. And especially I've done that course, I don't know, at this point, a dozen times more. And it was
Uh-huh.
cool to experience it in a slightly different fashion where some of the obstacles required teamwork. And then on top of that, you're running with someone. So you have, as a competitive person, a lot of times you're by yourself. You're just in the
Yeah.
woods, breathing loudly and
Yeah.
suffering. So it was cool to like, scale it back a tiny bit and push it at certain points with a friend. So
Yeah. Did they have you do, just out of curiosity, did they do the low rig during that?
they did that
Or was
one.
that
That one
okay?
was the same, so there was no
Okay.
modifications to it.
Okay.
The two, and then they had primes in it, like from OCR World Championships, where there was
Oh,
like a mini race within the race. So that was fun. One of them was three-legged race around the
okay.
field. Me and Thomas won that. And then I mean I think we obliterated people on that one because we were running like almost full speed, but at three like with three like tied together.
Oh, that's funny.
And then the other one was you had to pick up a medicine ball without using your hands, you and your partner, so you're like tummy to tummy with the medicine
Uh,
ball in between, and like walk down to an end and back. Um,
wow.
I think we won that one too, but I don't think they wanted to give us both wins.
Yeah.
And we did drop the ball slightly before the end, and it rolled over. They said we were good, but so maybe that was a DQ. I'm not sure, or maybe that disqualified us from the prize. So
Yeah. That's fun. Hopefully they do that one again this year.
yeah. All right. Who's is it your turn? My turn.
I'll go if you want me
You go.
to.
You can go. Go
This
for
one,
it.
this can kind of be in that medium to larger gift range, depending on how you want to do it. But Volition Chiropractic, if you're local to Kansas City, she does amazing soft tissue work and recovery work on people. So even if you don't have something like major that you need to go work on with her, her soft tissue work is amazing. So gift cards, she does gift cards, and that would
Oh, that's
be
nice.
an awesome gift for anyone. So
Yeah. And if you're not in Kansas City, but your athlete or yourself likes chiropractic work at whatever local area you have, that's another option, right? So if you're in, Boston or LA or whatever, right, you can get a gift card probably for whatever chiropractic or sports therapy type place that you go. Uh,
absolutely.
I'm gonna
Cool.
go. So I'll piggyback off that one. So there are some places that do like cryotherapy. In addition to like some of them are separate from chiropractic, but some of them have like cryotherapy place or recovery places. That's an
Yeah,
option too for that. Um, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna shameless plug my own website here because actually I can save a couple things here. We'll go with the smaller items. We'll go with my books, right? So my books are available on Amazon. They're also available off my website. Got a whole bunch. So my biography also is on audiobook. My newest book I just released is The Sponsored Athlete. So I basically take about just under 100 pages and I go through how we got sponsors for the pro team. I go through how I've gotten sponsors for my own personal use. And I go through how I've essentially turned racing from something that is very expensive into something that actually generates income. And, I think what I really like, again, plugging my own book here, what I really like about my book is that the solution's not like, well, get 1 million Instagram followers and then people will just pay you to show up. It is like you don't need 1 million Instagram followers. You just need some sort of social media presence. It doesn't even have to be big. And there are ways you
hmm
can go about, maybe not necessarily making money, but at least reducing costs, which essentially allows you to race more. So I just had Amy Pagic wrote the forward to the book, and she also read it before she wrote the forward. So she had some good things to say. I think we might do like a deep dive episode on that. So I won't talk about it too much, but books are always good. Knowledge, I can't recommend knowledge enough for training for anything from obstacle course racing to martial arts to whatever your sport may be. And I know, Jenny, you know the importance of mindset, especially with all the ultras you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited to read that. I haven't read it yet, so
And you've been the benefit of a lot of them firsthand. So, um,
yes,
it,
absolutely.
and I think you're tracking a decent amount what goes on behind the scenes, but I don't not quite everything I would say.
Yeah, yeah. Like yeah, and just even Amy's forward and everything like that all sounds like good information. So,
Yeah. All right. What else you got?
I think that's kind of it on the smaller side on my list.
Okay. I'm gonna go with one that's right on the line. Again, kind of plugging my own brand here, but Blegmit. That isn't always the lights are I'd say are at the top end of the kind of moderate gift category, and the extremes are kind of on the higher end or on the low end of the expensive category. So Blake mitts are obviously very popular among obstacle course racers, keeps your hands warm. But I also had someone this week actually email me and was like, hey, can we get these in the next, before Christmas? And it's like, well, they take like 3 days to make it to you. So yes. But they're primarily trail runners, and they had heard
Yeah,
about them. I'm not sure where. I think through an
maybe
obstacle course
me.
racing friend. Maybe you.
No, well, I looked like so leg mitts are absolutely on my list. I just kind of had them on the more higher side, and I have been raving about them for years for trail running because, especially in an ultra, you'd use your hands so much. Like you need to be able to grab gels out of your pack or refill your water bottle or whatever it is that you're doing. So I feel like they are perfect for trail running too.
Yeah. I've also actually had people reach out to me about hunting, and I know Bobby Ross has used them for photography. So,
Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense.
or there's I live in middle of Kansas, and football is very big here. The high school, not high school, college football, and they do games. Like the last game they played was in the snow.
Okay.
So, right, if you're going to be sitting in the audience, just not doing much, right, not having a lot of blood flow, the Blake mitts will keep your hands warm, and then you can use them to open your beer and then
Yeah.
go back to holding it in a nice insulated fashion, right? So, not just athletes. I think there's a lot of value there for anyone who's going to be spending any time outdoors and wants to stay warm.
Yeah, I really actually don't have regular gloves. I only have lights and extremes, and that's what, yeah, when I think about it, that's, yeah.
All right, let's jump into the bigger category. So, kind of starting at $50-ish and moving up to, I don't know, however much you want to spend on someone. You can go. I'll jump over to you first.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna go big and go with Ororo heated gear. Just about anything that they make is phenomenal. So, I have a couple of different things, but I'll focus one on the heated puffa parka coat that they have. That thing is amazing. It's kind of long. I mean, I wear it all the time, but we just took a family trip to Branson and Silver City. We were outside in like 20 degrees all day, and not only like the heating in it was amazing, but the coat itself is just really well made and very warm. I can't like suggest it enough. So
Is that the one you have in white?
yes, yeah.
Oh yeah, that one's nice. That was nice. You pull it off really well too. Like
Oh, it's so
the
nice. I love it.
I know Aurora's used your picture with like the white
Yeah,
parka on some of their advertisements.
yeah. We got some good ones out in Arkansas last year, I think. So
Yeah,
it worked
yeah,
out well.
yeah. And they I know they just released a couple of different things because they sent me an email and wanted me to do a couple more reviews. So their new jacket has more heating zones. I think the current jacket, the one I own, has 2 heating zones, and the new
Uh-huh.
one has 4. So I'm gonna have a review for that either on OCR Buddy or the OCR report. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna write that one for, so you can check both. And then they also released, essentially it's a poncho, right? So
Oh, I saw that.
it's like
Yes.
it's like a warm poncho with heating zones just like slapped all over the thing. And again, I'll have a review for that either on OCR Buddy or the OCR report. And so I'm excited about the poncho mostly, right? Because I'm not gonna buy a $200 heated jacket for my kids, right? I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
outgrow it. It's too expensive. The poncho, on the other hand, right? Like my kids can wear their normal jacket, and I can literally wrap them in this poncho, which will almost be full length for them, right? Going down like
Yeah.
all the way down to their legs, keep them warm, and then my daughter does like dance competitions, and my kids marched in 2 different parades this year, so you can wrap them in that, keep them warm. All right, it's time to march in the parade. Either they can wear that for the parade, or you pull that off, and now they're in whatever costume or attire they need to for the parade. So
Oh yeah. That's perfect.
yeah, I'm excited.
I actually thought about that one as well. We go to a lot of NFL games, like Kansas City Chiefs games, so that would be a great one for those too.
That is a good one for those. I think they also have heated seats or like heated seat cushions.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
they
probably
do.
really nice.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with, for kind of the bigger gifts, it's race entries, right? So just a blanket race entries. A lot of the brands, it's more than $50 for a race entry. right? So whether you're putting that on your own list, I think that's a great option, or buying it for someone else, or right, you can always, if you want to get someone into obstacle course racing, a spouse or a parent, right? My dad's in his 70s and he's done a couple Tough Mudders 5Ks. You can sign them up as a gift, and then part of the gift is you run the race with them. And I think that's just like a really cool experience to have with a loved one, and you kind of share your love for the sport. And I mentioned this in the Sponsored Athlete book. I've also mentioned, I think, on the last podcast. But as you know, if you're putting that on your own list, you can write it down as like, sponsor me for, Spartan Race Sprint and this date, right? And then they pay for your race entry. And then kind of as like a follow-up to the gift, you send them pictures and results from that race, right? So it's a little more of like a feedback loop, as opposed to just being like, thanks for the gift, you'll never hear from me again, right? Like it.
Yeah.
So and then when you put it on your calendar, right? Like, Spartan race, blah, blah, paid for by, dad, paid for by aunt, whatever. And then like you essentially leave a note for yourself to like leave them feedback. And if you want it to be even more interactive, you can do, training updates or whatever, right? Depending on, I guess, depends how many times you race a year. So some cool
That's an
options.
awesome suggestion. I'm actually going to use that one too. Because I never know what to like tell my parents. I'm like, I'm an adult. I don't need gifts, but
Right.
a
And
race
like,
entry, yeah,
once you get like an income, I feel like you buy gifts. You're like, well, I want that. I'm going to buy it right now.
exactly.
And then
Yeah,
Christmas comes and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have gone shopping for myself.
yeah, yeah.
So,
It's great.
all right, jumping back over to you. Big gifts.
All right, so we'll go back to Mud Gear because they have some higher price items like their actual race gear. So honestly, if you were buying someone like a race entry and wanted to get them race gear along with it, that would be kind of cool too. But their compression capris and shorts for women are amazing and very durable. I haven't been able to find anything else that I want to race in, honestly. Um, so yeah, I'll focus on those. I know you guys like their shorts as well, but I'll let you talk about that if you want to. They also have like hoodies, and lastly, their brute force collab sandbag for training is pretty sweet too. So
Yeah, the shorts are really good. That's what I've been wearing most of the year for racing. So highly recommend them. I haven't had any issues. I like the fact that it has a pocket in the back. So
yeah.
right, like if I'm only doing a medium or shorter length race, or even like for a shorter race, a lot of times a lot of times I have a gel on the start line, getting ready to
Hmm.
race. So I'll keep it in there so I don't have to like worry about where I'm putting it ahead of time, and then eat it beforehand. And the pocket on the back is actually like preposterously large. Like
Yeah.
when I first tested it, I was like, oh yeah, you can fit like a bar in here and like maybe two gels. And then I started like, I don't know, then I guess the shorts kind of like, I broke them in a little more, and then I realized the pocket goes all the way across the back. So,
Yeah.
um, I mean, I don't know how many gels you can cram in there, but you can cram a lot in there. Like, you can probably cram so many gels that you will get uncomfortable at the amount of
Yeah.
stuff in your back pocket. So
Yeah. I think I actually did a couple laps at my first toughest last year with just the shorts. Like I didn't have any extra carrying system. So
nice,
it worked pretty well. Oh yeah.
nice, good one. For big presents, I'm gonna go with a really, really big present, right? So this is, I mean, I'm trying to think if I've ever received a Christmas present this large. But if you are into something really big, I've used two different brands. So I've used Normatec and I've used Rapid Reboot. Those are the compression leggings. So essentially sleeves that go on your leg and they inflate by zones and it helps with recovery. Um, those are my favorite recovery tool that I own. Very expensive. I think they run in like the $1,000+ range, right? So um, maybe
Yeah, I would.
that might be a gift that several people are chipping into. Maybe you've got a whole extended family that wants to buy you a gift, and you tell them all to throw in, I don't know, $50. It's a big gift, but out of all of the recovery things that I've done, massage that I own, massage guns, muscle stimulators, uh, back massagers for like a chair, or out of all those things, the one I've used the most, hands down, are those compression pants, because you can put them on and literally lay down and go to sleep. and you are recovering even though you are completely racked out on the couch. So
Yeah, that's amazing. I will say I've only well, I think I used yours once at OCRWC, but also Volition Chiropractic. She's got a set of the pants and the hip extensions, and it's amazing. I can't imagine what that would be like to have at home anytime I wanted to use it.
yeah, I
Yeah.
used to use them like all the time. I feel like I've gotten a little more lazy about them in the last like year or two, but I used to use them on like a weekly basis. They were
Yeah.
nice.
I imagine you probably have to set them up in a convenient spot and just leave them there. Like,
Yeah, for that one it's not too bad because you can it doesn't their setup is pretty minimal. For some of the other stuff, it requires a little more effort and time to set up. But for that, you basically just slip them on just like a pair of sweatpants and
yeah,
hit play, and that's it. That's all you have
yeah,
to do.
nice.
Back to you, big presents.
All right, so I had put down blank mitts on there, but I'll plug you a little bit more. I've noticed that you have the blank mitt and book combos on the Strength
Boom.
and Speed website. So that's a pretty sweet deal right there if you want to take advantage of that combo.
Is a good combo. You do save a fair amount of money. I think you save $10 off the bleg mitts, and then depending on which books you buy, it might save another, you know, $15 to $30 on books. So it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's a great deal.
Yeah.
Definitely
The
worth it.
Yeah, like if you buy the light, so the combo with the two books, and you buy the ultra-ocr Bible, which I think is like 30 for the hard copy, just because of the printing costs, and then the like Guide to Elite Obstacle Course Racing, you'll save a fair amount. So,
Nice. Very nice.
um, what else? Anything else? You got any other big gift ideas?
I would call this a little bit bigger gift. We already mentioned Squirrels Not Butter, but they have some combo packs right now too for the holidays. So like they had an adventure pack that had like 5 different sizes of their normal anti-chafe, and then like a hat and happy toes, which I don't use a lot of happy toes, but I know that most people love it, like love it, love it. So
Yeah,
um yeah, I think it'd be good to gift to get that combo pack.
yeah, agreed. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to. Well, I know we mentioned races already, but I wanted to give a shout out to Mythic Race. So they're doing their third race this year in Cape Girardeau, or just outside of there, I guess, in Missouri. Highly recommend that. To me, that them and Hazelwood OCR in the Midwest are two of the most underrated brands. Like they're so good, but the attendance on them is on the lower side. So one, if you're looking to podium, that's a good place to go. Two, if you want hard, fun, challenging obstacles, that they're both good places to go. And three, they both have pretty good systems. I know Mythic Race does like a band system. If you go back and listen to the last episode of William Shell, there's ways to still podium even if you can't do every obstacle, and the other people in your gender also can't do the obstacles. So
Nice. Yeah, that makes sense. Are you doing the ultra? Is it a 5 hour?
5 hour, yep,
5 hour, yeah. Okay,
that's my plan.
nice.
And if anyone wants to join Team Strength and Speed so we can retain our team title, let me know. We will add you to the team, and we can yeah, we got some perks. I'll give you some perks for joining up for the Mythic Race event.
Nice.
Get you some temporary tattoos, free book, or something like that. And yeah. All right. Anything else?
I think that was my full list that I
Yeah.
had down right now. So
Yeah, those are all good ideas. So I'm gonna give
yeah.
one more quick shout out to two. Again, I primarily use Hammer Nutrition. I am writing a couple of reviews for some other supplement companies that make stuff that Hammer Nutrition doesn't make. So one of them is Immortal Powdered Coffee, right? So it's like nitro coffee. Did you have that at World's Toughest at the Coach's Corner, Jenny?
I did not try it. I think I saw it
Oh,
there, but I
you
didn't actually try it.
you missed out. It was so good,
Yeah,
especially at like 3
really.
a.m. Oh man. So there's a review of Immortal up on the OCR report. You can go check those out. They're a supporter of OCR, so cool brand. Comes in, it's powdered, but it's like, I mean, it tastes really good, and it has like almost no sugar. I think it's like 1 gram.
Okay.
Like 1
I need
gram
to
of
check
carb.
it out.
They primarily use
Yeah.
cacao for like the flavoring and like MCT. So
Okay.
really good. And then Naked Nutrition makes casein powder. So like the slow digesting protein that I take before bed. And they make Naked Nutrition casein. It's like ingredients, casein, period. So it is, I mean, when I mix it in to my water or my almond milk, like it is thick, which is good because that means when it hits your stomach, it's just sitting there digesting slowly. So tastes good.
Does it does it have a flavor at all, or is
This
it
one's plain. So the one I got was completely plain. So it just tastes like, kind of tastes like milk to me.
okay? Interesting.
And then they also make, if you like coffee, they do a coffee protein powder. So
Okay.
Naked Nutrition coffee protein powder. Again, I'll have reviews for those up on OCR Report and or the OCR Buddy. Um, so that one's really good too. Flavor's good, has protein. Great for like, for me, the ideal use for that is one, if you want some coffee and you need some sustenance as well, or like you're about to do a workout, you get the caffeine, you get the protein beforehand, and you can hit your workout. So
Yeah, that's nice. And the casein, like it's not easy to find good casein powder, so
yeah.
you could, yeah.
All right, we're gonna start wrapping it up. I got about 2 minutes before we call it. Jenny, since I got you on, any final thoughts on World's Toughest Mudder? I did a whole
Oh,
episode where I ran my mouth, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
yeah, I did listen to that. I don't, gosh, I wasn't prepared to answer this question, but I am 100% dedicated to next year. I'm going to go ahead and say
That's,
that. So this year was a little iffy. I had some different races going on and trying to figure out what to do, and I kind of split up my focus a little bit for a race that was the week before and World Toughest Mudder, and I think it prevented me from like really fully hitting like where I wanted to be at World Toughest Mudder. So that's the goal for next year, is to focus in a little bit more on that, and I'm excited about it. I don't know about Central Florida, what that's going to be like, but
any thoughts on,
we'll
right? So
see.
the big talk of the year was obviously the difficulty of the obstacles and the penalties. Any thoughts on
Okay.
those?
Honestly, I do think that they could be a little bit, you kind of got into this a little bit, but they could be a little more inventive with like changing up the obstacles throughout the night for, as you know, like we talked about, if 99% of people are failing it for 5 hours straight, something should probably change.
Yeah, yeah.
That kind of thought process would be nice to switch back to like adjusting things a little bit more throughout the night. And obviously everybody's heard about the very long run penalties. I didn't necessarily hate those, but they were a little excessive at times. So yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, everyone has to do the penalties. So, right. So, theoretically it
Yeah.
should wash out. But again, I think, like I said on my podcast, I think it actually ends up playing, the obstacles were difficult enough where it actually favored runners, but it just suppressed everyone's like actual total. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know where your mileage ended up, like as far as it's all over the place with obstacles, but I was up in the higher 90s, I think,
oh,
just
really?
from running penalties. So, which is fine. It is what it is, but yeah, like again, just like adjusting the obstacles a little bit. If no one, or basically no one, is able to do it, that's just not very fun. Like
Yeah.
adjust it up a little bit. So,
Gotcha. All right. Well, appreciate you coming on, Jenny.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
hopefully gave people some good ideas for this episode. Again, I'll drop some of the products in the show notes, and we will catch you, I don't know, whenever the next episode publishes before Christmas.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks
Thanks,
for
Jen.
having me. All
All right.
right.
Bye.
Bye.